This is episode 11 of the Post-Production Podcast. Hello and welcome, all you amazing people out there, to the Post-Production Podcast. Thank you for joining us as we talk about the latest in movies, TV, and occasional gaming news. I'm your host, Mr. Drew, and with me, of course, as always, is my co-host, Adam.
Well, hello there, sir. How are you?
Hello, I am good. Slightly wrecked, but I'm surviving. Yes, there's survival in the plan. Survival mode is going to be a giddy one. So we're going to talk about some trailers that have come out, some fun stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to do our initial non-spoiler. It's going to be a non-spoiler review and impression of The Last Jedi. We've both seen it. So we're going to talk about that. And then coming up next week, we're going to have our full spoiler review of The Last Jedi. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of some of the stuff. And, oh boy, all the hate and love.
Yeah, everything.
Oof. The scales are going all over the place.
Yeah.
It's gritty.
Gritty.
Okay, so let's talk trailers. The big one, I think, so far is Jurassic. We got a little bit of a tease of the Jurassic World, where we see Chris Pratt's character petting this tiny little baby blue raptor, which obviously is a reference from the first Jurassic World, from the blue raptor that he had raised. And then we get the actual release of the real trailer, Jurassic World. Your thoughts?
I thought it was a good trailer. I know a lot of people kind of were let down by it, but I think it looks like it's going to be a good follow-up to the first one. Because the first one was a really good, fun movie, but it didn't have the story or the suspense and, all of that, that the first one, like the original Jurassic Park had. It was more of a CGI fest of, crazy things happening and dinosaurs running amok and stuff like that. I think, and you can kind of tell by this trailer, it's getting a little more suspenseful and a little more, like, at least for me, it reminds me of the first Jurassic Park. And I think we're going to have a few of those, like, hopefully iconic moments. Everyone remembers, like, the water shaking when the T-Rex is coming, and those kind of moments. So I think we're gonna get more in line with that kind of stuff. I'm excited for everyone to come back. Everything that just looks really good, and also they also released a behind the scenes like featurette. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. I really like that. I think I enjoyed that more than the trailer, just because they kind of go into how they're leaning into animatronics versus CGI and stuff like that. So I'm excited for it.
I like that they included that, and they gave people a little bit of a snapshot of, hey, this is not just going to be a green screen film. This is, we're really putting a lot of work into some animatronics and some physical, real things for them to touch and interact with, which I think is gonna make the movie a completely different experience versus, these kind of CGI fests that we've been used to. I'm curious, though, you talked about this suspenseful kind of aspect of it, but I don't know where it's going to come from. The very first Jurassic Park movie was interesting because you think that the T-Rex, is the biggest, the baddest, it's the most ferocious dinosaur, that everyone was kind of familiar with before the movie had come out. And it actually ended up turning into that these smaller raptors were the bigger threat. These are the things that really kind of have the intelligence and the ability to hunt you and track you. And I think that became the surprise of the first movie.
Yeah.
And now the interesting thing is they've gone through this whole kind of like escalation of, okay, well, the raptors were the surprise of the first movie, but now the second and the third and even the first Jurassic World movie, we've had to come up with this bigger, badder monster dinosaur that needs to trump the previous monster dinosaur. And they even showed like a snippet of whatever kind of monster dinosaur is going to be in this one. And I cringed when I saw that because I don't want to see another.
The one like peeking through the tunnel, right?
Yeah, the one that was peeking
Yeah.
through the tunnel.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, that one's called. I think it's called an Indoraptor.
Yeah.
I think I saw like a breakdown or something.
but
Interesting.
I'd love for them to go back to their roots. I mean, they don't need to replay the raptor aspect, but there's got to be another species of dinosaur that can bring a level of horror, suspense, thrill, and surprise. Besides, oh, we just need to come up with some monster dinosaur.
I think, well, it's the way this world is going. It's the way this it's Jurassic World. They're trying to do things bigger and better than ever, and with that, they're creating scientifically modified, genetically modified dinosaurs. And this new like Indoraptor, I mean, I don't know what the whole point. It's just a more scary raptor. I don't know. But like I think we got the whole raptor thing in Jurassic World too. They leaned into the raptor thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now they just have to. It's a matter of just topping themselves.
Yeah.
They're just trying to top and top and top. I'm okay with it because I feel like you have to play with the idea of genetically modifying because they introduced that in Jurassic World. Now we got to see what else they've been doing with other species of dinosaur and stuff. So that's my whole thing.
Do you think they showed too much? Because
thinking back,
here's my
probably.
question, right? So, it looks like the premise of the movie is they know that the island's unstable. They want to go back. They want to preserve these creatures because they have a right to live, yada, yada, yada. So in the trailer,
yeah, they have a right to live, whatever.
Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But in the trailer, the island's blowing up. It's like it is blowing up. The island, maybe it's a fraction of the island, but basically it looks like the island's gone and everyone's just jumped in the ocean.
Yeah.
Okay, so either they're showing us the end of the movie, or that's a midway plot.
Yeah.
And we're going to end up where? On the coast in another city? Is this going to be another San Diego Jurassic
exactly, another Jurassic
Park
World 2.
3?
Yeah.
Fiasco?
And that's the thing. I think it seems like they show too much. It seems like you're basically seeing the end of the movie, but that could be like a first act kind of thing, or halfway through. Is it worse to spoil, like show something in the trailer and spoil it, or totally mislead someone by showing something that may not even be in the final film? Because we've gotten a lot of that recently.
Oh, okay. Hey, this is a Justice League kind of reference.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
no.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of it out there, but
I didn't know I was going to get to bash on Justice League this episode or not.
nah. But I mean, that's something to think about. We can get into that a little later.
Here's the thing. I think there's a little bit of a challenge for production companies because they want to get as much hype and as much advertising of their movies out as possible. So I think a lot of times they will take scenes and things from the production cut of a movie before it's been edited down to its final release because they're getting that early footage out.
Exactly.
They're getting all that other stuff out. But, we run into that problem where it's like, hey, I remember this, and this from these trailers from 6 months ago, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's not in the movie. I was looking forward to these scenes. I was looking forward to this content where you were going to take me, and now it's gone.
And that's actually something else that I could be potentially super excited to see a moment and not even see it in the film.
Right.
So that's another thing about avoiding trailers that I kind of run into. But
I mean, I think it's counterproductive. I mean, it really deflates your audience, and I think that's becoming very apparent nowadays because we're seeing more and more and more of it. And and here we go again, Justice League being a massive prime example. Now, I'm not going to say that Justice League was kind of like a case unto itself because of the difference of directors and the reshooting of scenes and all the other stuff. But there's prime examples of that. Probably that we can get with if we wanted to, we could track back through years and years
Yeah,
and years.
yeah,
Now, I think that just runs into some of the dangers of getting that early advertisement out because I'm sure that these advertisement and these trailer companies get this footage and they're like, okay, we don't know what to do with it. Let's use this, and this because we can use this and this kind of content.
yeah.
But they don't have anybody from saying, hey, I don't know if we're going to use that. I don't know if we're going to use that. So you need to be careful. I don't think it's going to be an avoidable situation. You
Well,
know,
I agree with that because I think that that does happen. That absolutely happens. But I think it's, because some people have a real problem with companies misleading audiences by putting something in the trailer that it may have like a context, like let's say the Last Jedi trailer, the last one that I've seen, where Kylo Ren is him reaching out his hand with Rey saying that she needs someone to teach her. Initially, you're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. If you look into it, and we've kind of determined those are two different
it's
scenes.
too different. Yeah, they.
But the way they
it
cut
was
it,
canny
it's
the way they
intentionally
cut it. Yeah,
exactly. So is it worse to leave something completely out or do something like that where you'll see those shots and you'll hear those lines, but they won't be in the exact way that it was in the trailer?
right.
I think that's okay. I think that's actually better because there's so many trailers that spoil things now, that spoil moments. That if you do something like this, where like you think it initially, maybe you might be mad. That's like, oh, why did you put that in the trailer, right? But if it's not in the movie, if it's a completely different thing, they misled you into thinking something just so you're not spoiled. So I think that's actually saving people from being spoiled.
I think I would actually have a blast working for a trailer making company
Yeah,
because it's such
it's like
sadistic fun. Hey, let's cut this and this together because it's going to make them think this, which is totally wrong, but we can all giggle because every time they see it, we're going to be like, yeah, man, you totally don't know
yeah,
what's going to go on.
exactly. And I mean, same thing with like Infinity War trailer. If you've seen breakdowns for that, there's all these theories about like who's in the Hulkbuster costume, who's in the actual Iron Man costume, who dies, and why some people are at this location, some people are not at this location. It's all like really interesting, and I think companies are learning from the mistakes they've made in previous years with their trailers spoiling things. That now they're just throwing out like these wild kind of
Yeah, they've gone from we're going to spoil it to we're going to completely mislead you.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because I'd rather be misled and be surprised in the theater than know exactly what's coming.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. All right, so Jurassic World, it looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Little
It's
tangent, but
going to be an explosive movie.
absolutely.
Fun. Okay. So now, before jumping into the next thing, so you know, we got this great. I'm excited about this. Like I am.
I know.
I'm over the moon excited because a trailer came out and it's called Alita, Battle Angel, and it was for me. Had no idea this movie was coming out. I
Yeah.
saw this trailer, and for me, it's just nostalgia goodness to the core.
Yeah.
Um, what did you think?
Well, see, I had no idea what it was. I saw that little teaser trailer or that teaser for the trailer beforehand, where it just basically showed her hands, and you see the effect and you see the CGI that you're about to see in the real trailer. So you're like intrigued. At least I was. And when the actual trailer came out, you sent it to me, and I was not expecting any of that. But it looks really cool. It looks really stylized. It looks really just different than things that we've been getting. It's this big action movie with, robots and whatnot, with cyborgs and stuff. But the real standout thing is, of course, the way that Alita looks.
Yes.
With those big manga
big,
eyes.
big manga eyes, and I think it's. I don't know if the director made the decision because it would be sort of iconic because one of the main characters is Christoph Waltz,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he was actually in a movie called
Big eyes,
Big
right?
Eyes.
Yeah,
So
that's
I think
true.
it's kind of quirky. It's fun in that way. That he's actually, in another movie where he's actually playing alongside a character that has these massive, big, bright manga
Yeah.
eyes. But I'm super excited. From what I've seen from the trailer, it completely mimics and it looks like it's going to follow the storyline of the original manga and animated movie that came out in 1993. Um,
Because you've seen this and you know a little bit about it.
I've seen it. I know a little bit about it. Basically, the premise of this kind of the manga, the original manga is called Gunnm, Gunnm,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. And they released an animated manga back in '93 called Battle Angel Hunter Warrior, depending on how it was promoted. Sometimes it was promoted as Gunnm. But basically, you have this kind of post-apocalyptic world where it's separated between two things. You have everybody that lives on the surface that's just kind of like this leftover trash place. And then you have this floating city above. It's almost like an Elysium sort of dysto, dy, dy, dysto, dy,
Dystopian.
dytopia. Yeah,
Wait, wait,
yeah,
wait.
I murdered
That's
that.
probably
Yeah.
not even it either.
But you have this
Dystopian.
split, right? Dystopian, yeah.
Dystopian. There
I,
we go.
I can't say that. It's impossible for me. Where you have like the elevated higher class that live above
And then you
everyone
have
else,
like a garbage kind
and
of
they
city.
and basically they dump their garbage down in the city. So this premise kind of follows Christoph Waltz, and he's this robotics expert. And I'm not spoiling anything. This is kind of just basically the
The
overall premise of the movie. He finds, this beat up body, and then he recreates her, and then you have, I don't know the name. I don't think he says her name in the trailer. I don't remember, but
Oh
it
no.
could be Gally. I'm not sure what they're gonna name her, but
But why would it be called Alita? Wouldn't isn't that her name?
uh, yeah. Yeah. It might. It probably is Alita. I'm confusing things.
Okay.
Um, but the overall arc is that it's this world of cybernetics, but at the same time, everything is dependent upon its human components.
Ah.
So you see a little bit, you see
So
some fight
nobody is
scenes.
completely cyborg.
Well, some people are completely human, and then you have people that are cyborg. But just like in some of past movies, you have a lot of cybernetic parts that still have to have those human components,
Okay.
and thus creates a market.
Yeah.
You have a market for cybernetic parts, and you have a market for human parts. And then I'm not going to go anything beyond that because then it
Okay.
gets into spoilers. But
Okay.
it kind of creates this interesting world of this visceral. To drop that every
You
week.
got it.
I got it in this visceral world of this punk, steampunk, cyberpunk,
Yeah.
cybernetic kind of
Okay.
society. I can't wait. I am I'm so excited. It looks
Yeah,
so
you seem
good.
super
It
excited.
looks so good.
It looks good, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And you can actually find and you can watch the original manga animated it's on YouTube for free.
Oh,
You can
okay.
just watch it.
Alright.
There aren't any English dubbed ones. You'll have to watch it in original Japanese with English subtitles, but it's completely worth it.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm good with that.
So now we got this really interesting video game trailer that dropped called Death Standing.
No, Death Stranding.
Oh, Stranding. Oh, I wrote
Stranding.
that round down. Yeah, I'm murdering everything
Standing.
tonight.
It's standing up.
It's standing. Death is standing.
It's not sitting.
Stranding. Which was highlighted and starring Walking Dead actor Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus, yeah.
And wow, just
I mean, they've been working on this game for a while, and I don't know a whole lot about it. Again, I'm not a huge gamer, so, I don't even know anything about this. So the trailers, I mean, they don't help. They really don't help with that.
But what a way to grab your attention.
Yeah, I mean, I was hooked immediately. The way, and it's, again, these trailers these video games are getting very cinematic in the way that they present themselves with the trailers, at least. I mean, it's, in terms of words that you love, visceral. It's it's
It's a movement.
frightening. It's suspenseful. It seems like a crazy premise that I've never. I mean, I don't know if I can even compare it to anything, which is so nice. It's actually really cool that something is so original that I don't even know what to compare it to.
Hmm.
We have these like multi-dimensional kind of monsters that are they're kind of walking through, I don't know, on their hands. There's like
I
handprints
know.
that are like
It's so
appearing.
misleading. It's so weird.
There's like this black goo that's like carrying bodies off, and like people are aging like super fast. Like the one guy, he goes from like middle age to like old man in like 10 seconds. And there's babies and incubators and little
Photo strobe
yeah,
looking
like
things and
arms like coming out of your like it looks crazy. And I can't wait for more information to come out, for more things to come out. I think I might have to play this game because it looks absolutely bonkers.
I mean, the way that this trailer came out and just the immediate kind of cringe and creep factor
Yeah,
that it gives
it
you,
makes you uncomfortable.
it makes you uncomfortable. At the same time, I was like, you know what? I want to watch this in VR with the lights off.
No, that's too much for me.
I want to take this because
Nah.
you're giving it to me at this level. Give it to me at another level because that would just throw me
To really
to
immerse
the
yourself.
walls. Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would just be like, that would be in heaven.
I mean, we don't know a whole lot about it, so there could be a VR factor that they could release. So,
That would be fun.
God,
But if you haven't seen it, watch it. You're in for
yeah,
a ride. Even if you're
watch
not a
this.
gamer, it's 8 minutes of just pure eye candy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if you have no interest in actually playing the game, watch the trailer because it's something to watch, and
Yeah.
I think it should grab people's attention,
Yeah,
and it
if
will.
if you want a little spine thrill,
Yeah, if you want a little trip. But yeah, looks good.
yeah, it does. So let's jump into a couple things here. So Netflix has dropped and announced and kind of given us a whole premise of their new season of Black Mirror,
Yes.
which is probably, I mean, going from creep
From
game
creepy to
trailer
creepy.
to creepy.
Yeah.
Black Mirror, which is our generation of
The Twilight
the
Zone.
Twilight
Yeah.
Zone and a little bit of X Files type,
A little
kind
bit.
of
Yeah.
thing here. I'm excited. I especially for the Star Trek episode, which
Oh
looks just
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I always think of you when I saw the trailer. I was like, yeah, Drew's gonna like this.
Yeah,
Um, I'm incredibly excited. I think Black Mirror is one of the few shows that is really like pushing boundaries and doing things different, doing things originally. I love that it's an anthology series where you don't have to watch it episode one, two, three, four. Like everyone is its own story, its own peek inside their own world. And yeah, I mean they're all basically pretty good. I mean, I don't think there's a bad one out there. Or at the least they're like okay.
yeah.
But I don't think you've finished all of
I haven't
them,
finished
right?
season three.
Okay.
I still need to kind of grunge through that. I just needed a break.
Yeah.
I plowed through the first two seasons
It gets a little
and just
much.
chopped it up, and then I was like, okay, I just need to kind of walk away from this for a little bit.
Yeah, it
Um,
gets a little depressing.
but yeah, no, I'm gonna dive back in, and
Yeah.
I'll probably crush through it faster than I want to
Yeah.
to get ready for season four.
But
But I I love the fact that, I mean, you have a media where you can really wow, there, I don't know what happened there. You can really kind of push social and political, I wouldn't say agendas, but topics and things that need to be talked about and discussed in this media in a very blatant and kind of like in your face
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, look, you may be aware of this and you may see this here and there, but wham, This
Yeah.
is what's going on, and this is where we are looking at going.
Yeah,
And
this is what could happen.
yeah,
And it's scary, and that's the thing that's most frightening about Black Mirror is that, some are like really they're really out there, but other episodes are, they could be taking place today or next year
yeah,
or in 5 years. And that's what's kind of scary about it is like, yeah, this could potentially be real life for us. And I think it does such a good job of that's why it's such an intriguing and entertaining show. So I love Black Mirror. I'm super excited for it. I cannot wait. December 29th is when it drops, so
I'm 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 curious, and I'm hopeful, but I'm more curious, and I'm interested in seeing where some of these storylines are going to go,
yeah.
because we had some. I mean, we've had some great kind of looks into, I think, some of the failings of our society at
Yeah.
present, and especially with all the content that has happened this year in 2017.
Oh, it's like a writer's
Yeah,
dream,
it's
all
like,
the
oh my
stuff
god,
that's
there's
happening.
so much content that I
Yeah.
don't, there's too much to deal with. But I'm curious, and I'm hopeful to see how they
Yeah.
arrange and twist some of these things that are coming up in our society right now.
Speaking of Netflix though.
Yep. I actually showed Adam, like, right before we started this episode, a new Netflix show, movie,
No, it's a series.
its series is about to come out, and it's called Altered Carbon. And the interesting thing is I had seen one trailer for it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, this is going to be a cool premise. And then when Adam got here, we watched another one, which actually I hadn't seen yet,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, oh, okay, wait, hold on. Now I have to think about something
Ah.
completely different, because now I'm getting two completely different vibes from these trailers, which I love that they did.
Yeah, it's interesting that they released two trailers and they both have different almost different stories, it seems like.
Yeah.
One follows this guy. It's like this voiceover of this guy that's like over 300 years old, and the premise is that death is basically
Meaningless.
meaningless. Yeah,
Well, for the rich
for
and
the rich.
accomplished,
Yeah,
but it's just technology has gotten to the point where they're able to transfer your consciousness from one body to
yeah.
another, and so you can basically set yourself up with all of these. I don't know if you would call them clones. I
They called it
They call them
sleeves.
sleeves, which is a great
So good,
analogy.
so good. Human
It's to
sleeves
point, yeah.
for you to just slip into.
So just like wearing different clothes, you can just wear different bodies.
Yeah, and that's a cool premise, and
It is.
that's really cool.
I almost kind of wonder if you can slip back and forth. And this is where it just kind of open. And this is what I wanted to talk about,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
this was the first, trailer that I saw, because it opens up this kind of conversation of if the technology exists for you to just kind of pop from one body to another, you know, do you just have, I mean, if you're rich enough, do you just have like cadavers in your closet, like clothes, and you're like, what do I want to wear today? Do I want to be a woman?
yeah. Who
Do
do
I
I
want
want
to
to
be
be
an athlete? Do I want to be do I
Yeah,
want to be black? Do I want to be white? Do I want to
yeah.
be Asian? Do I want to be,
That's
Persian?
such
Do I want to be this?
that's such a weird
I want to be an
thought.
Eskimo today. I mean, like, I just want to do all these different things, and
Yeah,
the
that'd be. I mean, yeah, that's a good point because you don't get that from the trailer. I mean, the technology is there. There could be something that says, once you leave a body, you cannot come back to it. But also, that's a really interesting thing. Like, what if you can have multiple bodies and skins would be a cool name, but I
yeah,
like that they use
yeah, I
sleeves.
like that they use sleeves.
But let's talk about like the way it looks and the world that it looks like, because there's some heavy-handed like
Blade Runner.
homages. Oh,
I was like, oh
Blade
man, this looks
Runner.
like Blade Runner.
There's one shot of him. He's walking through like the smoky, gross city,
Mm-hmm.
the dark, dim city with the bright neon lights. You see him. He's kind of walking. He kind of turns around. He's wearing like this big coat kind of thing. You see this like it looks like a police car.
Mm-hmm.
This futuristic police car. I'm like, where's Deckard?
Yeah, I know.
Is Ryan
where's
Gosling gonna
where's
show up?
where's Agent K?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is cool, but is it too much? Is it too close to Blade Runner? I love Blade Runner and I love the world, so I'm okay with it. But
I'm fine with it. I mean, I can't. I think because Blade Runner was basically that baseline opening introduction to that. I think it's that specific type of look.
yeah,
That
Blade Runner was the first
it was
one.
that first one that that you're always immediately going to think about that. But I don't think
Yeah.
it's exclusive to Blade Runner. Like it's like you can only do it in this kind of premise.
Yeah, I mean,
Anybody can
it's
use it,
such
but
a
everyone's always going to think of Blade Runner first.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's such a cool look, so I get it. I get why it's so overused with everyone else. But still, like, I'm always gonna think of Blade Runner. I don't know. It's cool. I
I
love
actually
it.
think of two things. I always think
Okay.
of two things when I see something like that. I think of Blade Runner first, and then the second thing I think of is cyberpunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just kind of where I would kind of categorize that. Even though we don't see any kind of cybernetics or any kind of robotics, but I mean it still has that cyberpunk feel to it that
Yeah. Slightly. Yeah.
that
A little
gritty,
more. Yeah.
urban, neon, dark,
Yeah.
smoky, rainy, wet,
Yeah.
kind of look to it. But I mean, the other trailer where we have this voiceover of this guy that's kind of slipped in and out of these sleeves for
Yeah.
almost 300
300
years,
years. Yeah.
and then it looks like he gets murdered, and he hires someone to solve his murder,
Yeah.
and that gives us a completely different kind of story base than what I thought what the series was going to be about. So I'm even more
Yeah.
curious and interested.
So that comes out in February of 2018. So, yeah, that'll be on my watch list definitely. When it drops, I'll be binging.
Yeah.
So.
But check out the trailers. It looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us what you
It
think
looks
about
like
that.
it has a lot of potential to go any way
Yeah.
it wants. And it almost kind of, it sort of kind of reminded me and gave me a think back to a series that was on called Dolls. Did you ever watch that?
No.
It was kind of this premise of you had this company that had these women that could be programmed to be anybody specific.
Interesting.
Yeah. So clients would hire these companies and say, I want a woman that has the memories and personality and emotional responses of my late ex-wife.
Interesting.
And then they would like hire these women for whatever a weekend and to act and be like their ex-wives. I mean, there's like a million scenarios that this kind of goes
Yeah.
into, but it was
Yeah.
the premise was these dolls and these
Okay.
people that could be programmed to be these different personalities and these different kind of roles. Although this is going a step farther, where it's like they could just be any kind of body. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So, Annihilation got another trailer, and first of all, what do you think? Because we were all already hooked, basically. I mean, all I needed was that first trailer. I'm going to the theater. It was really just an extension of that first trailer. I mean, you kind of got there wasn't anything really new that you saw.
Yeah, I mean it didn't give you any more insight into where the movie's going and what it's sort of
Yeah.
kind of where it's coming from and where it's going. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a great journey into just some alien thriller suspense, mind blown kind of
Yeah.
psychological weird stuff. We got some creature effects in this new
Hmm.
trailer, which looks kind of interesting. It almost looks like it's leaning more towards the horror thriller than the kind of the sci-fi psychological thriller, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a mix of both.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Is I think sci-fi and like thriller, like horror, is a really cool genre because it's always, sci-fi is always adventure and sometimes comedy and whatnot. But when you throw in that horrific kind of aspect to it, it makes it so much more interesting. Because sci-fi you can do anything with.
Yeah.
Like your rules are your rules. Like you don't have to play in the regular sandbox. Like you have different things working for you. So yeah, I mean, who knows what's gonna go on in this movie, but I'm excited for it.
And I think that's the fun thing with sci-fi thriller horrors because, I mean, you can have a movie. Um, Take for example, you saw Life, right? The one with Jake Gyllenhaal
No,
and Ryan.
no.
No, no, not at all. Oh, okay,
You told me about it.
all right. Well, okay, well,
You,
scrap that.
yeah,
Okay, I had a great point to make, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, okay, not gonna ruin that for you.
I think you're.
Anyways.
I, I think we talked about it, but
Yeah, because
yeah,
I mean that's. I mean, I think you can tell though from the previews
yeah,
and for the trailers. I mean, you have this basically innocent science experiment
yeah.
where they discover this alien kind of
This being,
life,
yeah,
and things go sideways, and it's like, this is not a horror genre because you don't have like a serial killer, you don't have you don't have a bad guy with an agenda.
yeah,
You just have this alien life form that's doing what it needs to do, and it just turns into this thriller
yeah,
horror thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, that would just be freakishly weird to
yeah.
go through that. Anyways, okay, moving on. All right, so I think that's probably about it with the trailers.
I just want to talk about because we literally, I didn't know this was coming out, but Sicario 2,
Oh, we just wow,
yeah,
that was a surprise.
that was a. I mean,
That
when
was
you pulled it up, I was like,
Yeah, I didn't even know. I was just like, let's check this real quick, and then Sicario too.
yeah,
So we have Josh Brolin and
Benicio del Toro
Benicio del Toro back
They're
as
back
the
and they're.
Sicario, just madmen who,
Mm-hmm.
looks like this time there's no.
Yeah,
I don't
no
think there were
rules.
rules before,
Yeah, no.
but I guess this time there's absolutely no
Abs-
rules, and it looks like this is going to be visceral.
You got it in.
I got it in there. Oh.
Yeah, it looks pretty crazy from the trailer, and Emily Blunt's not in this one, and you can kind of tell if you saw the first one at the end. She's like,
That's why I was
spoilers, I guess.
surprised because I thought it was that the girl that
Yeah.
rolled under the truck, and I was like, "Was that Blunt?" But that's all that they showed of her. But no, yeah, because she was
Yeah.
done at the end of
She
the
was
first
done.
one.
She was like, I don't want
She's like, "Yeah,
anything to do with you.
where do I punch out?" Just,
Yeah, no.
yeah,
I think what made Sicario so great is Denis Villeneuve. He did Blade Runner, and he's doing Dune, your favorite.
Can't
But
wait.
I know. But he's a great director, but he's not coming back for Sicario 2. So we have this other director, I forget his name, but it's interesting because I think visually it looks pretty similar. Like, I think it meshes pretty well. I don't know if this is going to be any good. It looks pretty good, and I have high hopes because of the first one. I mean, the first one was amazing, so uh, I can only hope that it's on par at least, and I think it will be.
I mean, you have Brolin and Del Toro back, so I mean, you're not supplanting any of the main characters. I mean, Emily Blunt obviously isn't in it, but I mean, they should be able to step right back into those roles, and you've got this cartel war, this drug war to kind of deal with. I mean, you could bomb it, you could, but I mean, you really have to try hard to screw this
Yeah,
up.
that's
I
true.
mean,
You just have to have a good
you know what I
story.
mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the actors are there; they're gonna do great. It's because I don't think Sicario, like the first one, made a lot of money. Like it
No,
wasn't a
it didn't.
blockbuster
No.
kind of thing. It was the critic rating. It was the how much people actually liked it. So that's what made them probably do a second one.
I don't think they were expecting,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
how just shocking it was, and
Yeah,
just how kind of, yeah, this is what's going on,
yeah,
and this is this whole thing that you'll never read about, you'll never see, but hey, guess what?
yeah,
this is apparent. This is stuck in my head. I gotta watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again
Yeah.
soon, very soon. Next.
Yeah. Add it to the list.
All right. Let's see. Anything else? No.
I think that's it.
So, should we talk? Should we talk Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean we're here.
Should we watch that? Okay. So, all right. So this is non-spoiler. This is no spoiler review. Initial impressions. The Last Jedi. What did you think?
I absolutely loved it. It was such a good time for me at the movies. I can't remember, like, this might be one of my favorite movie going experiences. I mean, there's always that excitement of, when you first see a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and you see the title and the scroll and everything like that. I was hooked immediately. Well, it picked up exactly where, I mean, pretty much hours after The Force Awakens.
Yeah, it zips right into it.
Yeah, and I love that, and I think this movie, just as a general sense right now, I enjoy it more than The Force Awakens. I think it's a better movie than The Force Awakens. So for me, and I've only seen it once, but I think I can put it up because we did our rankings last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can put it in the top 3. So it's number 3 on my ranking.
Okay, so what we had Empire Strikes Back as number 1. We had A New Hope as number 2, and now we have The Last Jedi as number 3.
Would you agree with that?
And then, well, right after that is
The
Force Awakens. I'd agree with that. I would. I mean, I have my issues with The Force Awakens, but it was still a really good Star Wars movie and entertaining. I really liked The Last Jedi. It was fun. It was great, and it was different.
Yeah.
Of
course. Yeah.
They went some directions that I wasn't expecting. I really enjoyed what happens in the movie. There are some things that I have issues with, but that's just my brain. Like my brain just overcooking everything.
Yeah.
But for me, because I've seen it twice, and I needed to see it a second time.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen this from a lot of people where there was just like, there's so much to take in your initial time, and you're like, wait, okay, there's so much going on, and all these things happened, and I need to see it again. And I enjoyed it, the second time. And I think it also has to deal with, the people you're with and kind of the environment you're with.
Yeah.
Because the second time I talked to you about this, I had this lady next to me, and she was just all in. She was just having the time of her life. She was clapping, and she was woohooing, and like she was just animated.
That's
and
the best.
And that even made it more fun for me because I knew what was coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like initially I was like, oh, this lady's a character, and this is gonna be this is gonna be fun to have her next to me. And it was interesting to see the scenes that came up and her reactions to it.
Yeah.
So that was even funner.
Yeah.
And then of course seating, being more comfortable.
Yeah, because you went the first time.
First time I went in IMAX, and it was just regular seats. And actually, we were in the back row, so like the back row usually against a wall, and you can't like push back. There's no reclining, so and it was packed, and I was like, okay, whatever. But I mean, it was IMAX, but I'd rather relax next time.
Yeah, I mean, this is I didn't see it in IMAX, and I'm not gonna see it in IMAX because I'm going on Thursday, and I mean, would you recommend IMAX? I mean, does it do anything really, or
I don't think. I mean,
you saw it with and without it, right?
I saw it with and without it, and I was more comfortable in the recliner seats. I mean, that's just a different movie going experience. When you're comfortable and you can kind of recline, and you can it's like you're watching it at home, only it's bigger, better. Better sound and everything. Stuff like that. So I mean,
because I saw it with the recliner seats and not IMAX, but I enjoyed it. I visually it's still amazing, and I don't think you really need that because with the 3D, it's even more to take in. I
don't know how it would be in 3D. I'm pretty much done.
Wait, did you see it in
3D.
IMAX? Wait, you didn't see it in 3D?
No, I just saw regular IMAX.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Regular IMAX.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't go to 3D anymore. It's just not.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they had an IMAX that wasn't 3D.
Yeah, yeah, they have 3D and 2D.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good.
because
That's
a
good.
lot of people they like the IMAX, but they just can't.
Yeah,
They can't do the
I no,
3D.
I don't like the 3D either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprising because in the screening that I went to, it was Thursday night. It was like opening freaking night, and we didn't get a lot of those cheering moments. In the beginning, there was some clapping when Star Wars came up on the screen, and then maybe here and there was some,
Hmm.
but like, yeah, we didn't. I didn't really get that. So hopefully, I get that the second time.
Was anybody dressed up?
Um,
Was anybody in costume or?
no, I mean everyone had kind of their Star Wars T-shirts and stuff like that, but movie theaters now they really don't allow that kind of stuff. I mean, did you see anyone with that? Or
No,
yeah,
no.
it's really hard to do that now with everything with how the world is now.
Right.
But um, but I mean, there's some twists and turns in this movie that really surprised me as a moviegoer, as a Star Wars fan. This movie does a lot for the Star Wars universe in
Hmm.
general. And if you guys have been following kind of the reviews of The Last Jedi, you know that it's a very divisive film. It's almost as divisive as, or I'd say even more so than like a Batman versus Superman or something like that. I'd
Oh,
say it's even
I think it's
more
more than
so.
that. It's more than
Yeah.
that because
Star Wars fans are even more
yeah.
intense. Um, when I first started hearing that backlash, because I was one of the first ones to come out of the theater. I was one of the first ones that I knew that had seen the movie because I saw it Thursday night.
Hmm.
But when people started watching it and the reviews started happening and online people started talking about it, I was very, very surprised at how divisive and how many problems people had with it because I loved it. I walked out of there like, dude, that was amazing. And throughout the movie, like I caught myself in that moment and I was like, yeah, this is going to go up there for me. And then I think I'll have a better understanding the second time I see it, but I think it's going to stick there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, but um yeah, it's just so surprising, and I can't wait to talk like spoilers because that's where it really.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we get into spoilers, we can really get into the fan reactions to
Yeah,
this because it's intense and people are
yeah,
people. I mean, people are passionate. They're super passionate. But I think we're going to save this for spoilers because we can really go in a side tangent from
yeah,
this. But I mean, overall, I loved. I mean, we have some new characters in this one. I love all the performances, and I think stand out. I think the person who really just for me was Princess Leia.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, Carrie Fisher
Carrie
was
Fisher
amazing,
really.
and I really did not like her at all in Force Awakens. I just thought she was
Her,
underused and had very short, these clipped kind of dialogued. But in this one, she is amazing,
yeah,
and I was like, "Go Leia," you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um, I think Finn's storyline is good. There's some controversy on where it goes, and I
yeah,
think Act Two.
yeah,
We're introduced to a new person called Rose, and I thought she
yeah.
was
She
a
was
lot
great.
of fun. She brought a new a new vibe to the movie.
Yeah,
Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. What can you
yep.
say? I mean,
He's
he just
back.
plugged right into it.
So good, so good.
That him and his interaction with Ray are fantastic. That storyline, I think, for a lot of people was interesting.
Yeah, and
It
that was one thing that I walked in there like really excited for. Because End of Force Awakens, you're left with that literal cliffhanger of Luke and Rey just standing there, and you don't know what's gonna happen. So it was really fun to get into, where Luke has been, why he's there. Just that alone, like I was really, really hyped for. Another thing that I really loved, and another standout for me was Kylo Ren as a character, and then Adam Driver as an actor. He really did
I
so well.
I think he knocked it out. I was, I had problems with him in Force Awakens.
Yeah,
I get everything from his first movie and everything around his character, and you really see everything behind his motives and everything behind his drive and his passion
Yeah.
in this second one, and he did amazing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to watch him, and I can't wait to see how he progresses even further, further. Yeah, further.
Further.
Farther is distance, further is the other.
Yeah.
In the wrap up in the third of the trilogy, so it should be fun. Um, I I I I was impressed with it. I liked it, and I liked it's exceedingly different from the first one, and you can really tell
Absolutely.
that
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson,
Yeah.
had a completely different feel. Took a lot of risks. I think some of them paid off. I think some of them really didn't pay off. Um, and I think this is what's a lot of it is what's triggering people.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, for me, Ryan Johnson's risks, I think the fact that he took them is enough for me to go, okay, yes. Like I'm on board for this because going through the movie and going through those story elements that I definitely didn't expect. I don't think anyone expected. That to me was more exciting and just it made the movie watching experience way more fun for me as an audience member just going through those emotions because that's why we go to these movies. That's why we go to the movies in general is to be surprised and to be entertained at the same time. The Force Awakens, it's a lot of fun. It's a good fun ride for, 2 hours, but I can't say that it's unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of know where this is going. And this movie, you really just don't. And that's why I liked it so much.
Yeah, there's definitely some twists and turns in this one, and and there's some last minute kind of things where you're like, oh, okay, it's gonna go this way. Oh wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right. Well, okay, here we go.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like people's choice to be like okay, like this is what it is. Let's see where this goes. Or oh no, they did that. Oh, I hate this. This is going to be terrible. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Like it's that choice of are you accepting of that change? Are you accepting of that twist? Are you, you know, and I think that's where that fan kind of critique lies, but
We're gonna poke and prod at that
yeah,
like
that's a whole
crazy
other thing,
for
but
spoilers.
as a whole, like the characters were amazing. I think their characters develop in such a way that is very natural from The Force Awakens, and it's needed because in The Force Awakens, like Poe, you get some things, but you don't get a whole lot of them,
Right.
and we got to spend a lot more time with him in this one, and the new characters like Laura Dern's character was it Commander Holdo, I believe.
Holdo.
Yeah, Holdo.
Holdo.
Yeah, so I thought she was great. Without any spoilers, I thought
She was
did a
amazing.
really great
Yeah.
performance.
Tall.
She is very tall.
She's super tall.
She's very
I mean, but I don't remember her being like I don't know if it was just like how they had her dressed or made up. Like she was super super tall. like
yeah, maybe
like alien freakishly kind of like you look
yeah.
stretched.
Yeah,
I mean, it worked, but
yeah, it definitely worked for that character.
I just don't remember in a couple of movies that I've seen her, especially Jurassic Park.
yeah, she definitely didn't look
It didn't look like
that tall.
she was that tall. But
anyway,
yeah. Anywho,
yeah, Rose is a really cool addition. I thought she was really cool. Let's see, let's talk about the bad guys for a second. What's his name? What's his name? Hux.
General Hux.
We got General Hux coming back. We got Captain Phasma, and of course, the infamous Mr. Snoke, which you love.
Worst named villain ever. Yeah, Snoke.
Snoke.
Snoke the Smoke.
I think I love all of them as actors. Andy Serkis did amazing. He is a presence. He's a real menacing guy, and his performance was just, I think, way better than what we got in The Force Awakens.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we just got some holograms, and you really just didn't get any you didn't get any sense of the character
Yeah,
or his presence or his power.
yeah,
And in this one, we really get everything that we were kind of looking for. And Andy Serkis just did an amazing,
as
amazing
always.
job as always.
Yeah,
I think this guy is so underappreciated in
he
what
really
he
is,
does.
and he is opening up that conversation of the Academy Awards with like a performance capture like role.
Right. Okay.
Because he is really underappreciated because he's done so much for that technology, and he's really, he's of course an actor, but he understands that technology, and he understands what makes things look real, and what
Right.
makes, that's what makes the Planet of the Apes trilogy so amazing, is his
Yeah.
performance as
And
Caesar.
and for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Andy Serkis was Gollum in
Gollum
The Lord of
from
the Rings,
yeah,
and he is Caesar in The Planet of the Apes.
yeah,
So, those, I mean, two completely different characters,
yeah,
looking characters, but that is Andy Serkis,
yeah,
and the amazing face and emotional capture that he does in both those performances, and then again in The Last Jedi with Snoke. You really we need to find something for this category or this kind of
exactly, yeah.
because it's a new thing, and I think the Academy Award, you know it's an old stuffy kind of
I kind of feel like
dated
yeah,
process, and they
yeah.
really need to kind of
They need to add something
they need
for
to add
this.
some more stuff. Anyways, back to The Last Jedi.
But yeah, Andy Serkis, amazing as always. Daisy Ridley, she's of course back as
As
Rey.
Ray. Yeah.
She's amazing. She's really good. Why do I feel like I could have used more of her?
Well, I think in The Force Awakens, she comes out and she's just spunk and fire and energy, and like she's almost enjoying herself.
Yeah,
In everything that's going on,
yeah.
the
Because
good and the bad.
again, it's a fun ride
It's a
of a
fun
movie.
ride of a movie. And now in this one, it takes a little bit more. I mean, it's a serious turn.
Yeah,
Things are coming to a head. Her, I don't know, I would say her path or her destiny is kind of unfolding before her.
hmm,
And it's not something that you can jump into with a giggle and a smile and go,
yeah,
yay,
yeah.
fun ride, roller coaster.
Yeah, quickly you realize it's
Yeah,
not that.
it's serious. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah,
um and I think there was so much going on in this movie, and as it goes from scene to scene and act to act. I think it was all equally kind of spread out, I think,
yeah.
in
But there's so
ways.
much that, yeah. I mean, we didn't get a
Yeah.
whole lot of any one character. I feel like
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we did.
we
It
really
wasn't
spread
an
it out.
overload. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was definitely spread out.
which is actually pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, as a whole, I absolutely loved it. I'm gonna see it again and again and again and again. And of course, no spoilers again, but after this movie, I'm so excited to see where this next one goes to close out the trilogy, because now there's one left, and we got to do some things in one movie. We have to close some storylines. We have to, answer some questions, and I think it's yeah, I just don't know what to expect.
Do you think J.J. Abrams has his work cut out for him in kind of wrapping up this trilogy on the third one?
Oh, absolutely.
I
Because
mean that's a lot of pressure.
it is, and especially because of this backlash of Ryan Johnson. And I feel bad because Ryan Johnson, I just saw this article right now on Google that was like, Ryan Johnson wasn't, trying to mess with fans. He was just trying to make a good movie. And it's like, yeah, like that's what
Which he did.
he did, make a good
You
movie.
know.
And I don't know, this is, you know, someone said that Star Wars fans are their own worst enemies,
They are.
and I agree with that because we have people who are upset on different levels and people who love it on different levels, and and that's all okay, and that's what makes being a Star Wars fan so cool is that you can feel however you want, but we all still are here for the same reason. But even so, it's really incredible how people have turned.
Well, I understand it, and we're really going to delve into this in our spoiler review, but this is what I get from this. Okay, J.J. Abrams did the first Force Awakens, and people were, they were the same.
Yeah,
They loved it, they hated it. Oh, the greatest movie ever. Oh, blah 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 blah. But then they're like, oh, okay, now we got a new director coming in, and Ryan Johnson comes in, and then before Last Jedi even comes out, we find out that, oh, hey, J.J. Abrams coming back to do the third one
hmm
because Ryan Johnson is given, you know, free reign to start a new trilogy
yeah,
because Disney loved what he did so much.
yeah,
So that's an indicator
yeah,
that it's like at the end of the day, whether you loved it, you hate it, your Star Wars geekiness is all in or all out.
yeah,
Disney, who owns it, runs it, and controls everything about it, is the one that says, yeah, we loved it. We believe in him.
yeah,
And this is why. And this is what we're going to let him do.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
I think people need to kind of like take a breath and step back and go,
And
yeah, okay, I need to be accepting of this.
yeah, and it's another thing, and I'm on a few like groups on Facebook, and people. It's funny because people are like, "Hey, instead of this scene in the Last Jedi going like this, the way we didn't like it, I wrote this other scenario of how it could have been." Right? I'm like, and it's like literally like half of
Oh,
freaking like why even put effort into it?
yeah.
It's done. It's done just because you didn't like it. Just say you didn't like it.
Yeah.
You don't have to think of a way that it could have been because you are just making that disappointment last longer if you're saying, no, this is the one that should, it should have gone this way and not that way. Like, dude, just calm down, accept it for what it is, know that it's not going to change despite however many hours you put into this new
Mm-hmm.
scene. It's wasted time, it's wasted energy. So, and that's the thing, it's like instead of like trying to fix a thing that you can't fix in a million years, just accept it and accept your feelings about it. Like, if you don't like it, you don't have to try to like it by changing it because you're
Right.
not going to change it. Just say, I didn't like it. That's fine, and that's what movies are about. It's all subjective.
And the interesting thing is don't take our word for it. Don't take the critics' word for it. Don't take Disney's word for it.
Yeah, go out and see it
You're
and
so
have your own
passionate about
feelings.
this,
Yeah,
and you're going crazy about all these different things. There's somebody near you, next to you, in your life, a friend or a family member that has turned to you and said, this is just a movie, right?
yeah, because it is. It really
It is
is.
just a
And
movie.
even though we do this and we talk about movies and all this stuff for hours, it is just a movie and but it's art and you there's no right and wrong with art. You know, it's all subjective. It's all you can have your own feelings about it, and that's what's so wonderful about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? I loved the risks and everything that The Last Jedi introduced us with, and I understand that it's not what everyone wanted, but that's the thing with, when you speculate, when you spend 2 years saying this is how it's going to go, and it doesn't go that way, absolutely 100% you're going to be disappointed, and you're not going to like how it went out because it's not your ideal plan.
Yeah, you set yourself up.
You set yourself up for disappointment, and that's one thing that I think a lot of people who are mad, I just feel like I'm just curious to see if their opinion changes in the next week, in the next year, because I have an opinion that says they hate it now, they're gonna learn to love it later.
Well, we saw the same thing with the Phantom Menace when it came out. You know,
Yeah,
because and although this is a completely different scenario, because there hadn't been a Star Wars movie in so long,
yeah,
and then oh my God, we get more Star Wars, and everyone was like, oh, the best movie ever. And then a couple months down the line, everyone's going, yeah, that was horrible. It
and
was
then
absolutely just
yeah,
the worst ever.
and also
Midichlorians.
midichlorians. And also you have those people who absolutely hated it, like coming out of the Phantom Menace, like the first time years ago, and now they're saying, you know what, it's not
It's not that bad.
it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just that I had everything built up in my head of what an episode one would be, and seeing this introduction into this new this new trilogy that we hadn't seen before. These were the prequels,
Yeah.
and so it's like, okay, it's not that bad of a movie, but it's still
But
enjoyable.
it's interesting. I find it hard to wrap my head around how people can be how they could have been utterly disappointed in their preconceived notions of the very first movie when you really didn't have anything to base anything on.
Exactly.
It's the first one.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you were coming from a movie and we're going to a movie. And it's like, okay, all this stuff happened at the end of this one,
Yeah.
which should lead to all this, and I can't wait because I think it's going to go this way. It's like, no, this is the start of everything.
Yeah. So
I.
But still,
Anywho.
yeah. Still, there's that expectation and reality of the situation. But anyway, I think that's basically our thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Non-spoiler thoughts.
Yeah. We're gonna get into spoilers coming up next week in our next episode. Stay tuned. Go see it. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Love it. Hate it. If you're like me and your brain just has to just keep processing, you're gonna want to see it twice.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. Go watch it, process it, think about it, and then go watch it again. Turn your brain off.
Yeah.
And you'll understand that there's things to love about this movie. There's an excitement. There's a focus, and it's a great ride.
Yeah, for me.
And don't overthink it.
Yeah, don't overthink it. But also, yeah, for me, going into that theater, I didn't have preconceived notions of how it was gonna go. I didn't have my theory set in stone. I was basically ready for whatever it presented to me. And I think that's probably the best way to go into this movie. Because otherwise you are going to be disappointed, probably. I think if you let go of your expectations, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, cool. I guess that's it.
That's it,
yeah. Spoilers.
Join us next week for the big reveal on all the twists and plots and the inner workings of The Last Jedi. You do this part.
Yeah, so if you guys want to reach the show, you guys can email us at postproductionpod@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Listen to us, subscribe to us on iTunes. We're also on SoundCloud as well. And yeah, tell a friend, leave a review. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening.
You can find me at Mr. Drew LV at Twitter.
And me at Adam Scadam. That's it for this week. We will be back next week with the full spoiler review and discussion of The Last Jedi. So stay tuned for that. If you've seen it already, see it again. Come back and we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.